Hello, hello.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the 10K
Welcome.
project.
We got some early birds tonight. Usually we get on, there's only like one or two people here. We've already got 15 people on. All right.
People want to meet the real estate guru that we
Yes.
got. They want to meet $17 million man tonight. And I can't blame you.
I ain't mad at that either.
Yes, yes. So let's see here. I'm trying to get all of my screens up. I actually showed up a little bit early today. Thank goodness, was able to do that.
Oh, Gerald,
Um,
thank you. Gerald said he just showed up for us, Sheree.
oh, thank you. We love you too.
Ah,
Oh, we have so many announcements as well. And then we have a wonderful guest this evening, Mr. Michael Crawford, who is coming in to chat with us. This was actually a find by Tawana. So we're super excited to have him coming on today. Everyone, don't forget to put your city and state in the chat for me. Put your city and state in the chat. If you are in any of our social media, YouTube, Facebook, don't forget to like. Don't forget to like the page for us, like the video for us. All of that good stuff tells the algorithms you are in the building. Also, don't forget to put your city and state in there as well. Uh, Again, it lets the algorithms know that you are in the building. For whatever reason, we're not showing up on Facebook in our group. So I just gonna have to move along.
that's why people got it. They got to click on register and come live because you never know what the
Yeah, you
technology is
never
going to
know.
do.
You never know. You never know.
Hi,
So,
Miss
all right,
Vivian.
but we're
We
look, we're
missed you
live
too.
everywhere else. So, all right. So let's see here. I also want to make sure, see if our guest is in here yet.
Yep, he's in there.
Yes, he is. So I'm going to move him up here. And it's 6 o'clock officially on Monday. We come every Monday, 6 o'clock, to say welcome to the 10K Project. We are the largest community of investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. Minimum investment is $100. I haven't said it in a long Yes, haven't said a couple of things in a long time, but what I'm going to do today is kind of go back old school and just kind of refresh everyone's memory with my little 5-slide presentation here to tell you what the 10K project is. Then Tawana has a whole ton of
I've got
announcements,
like a list of
couple
announcements.
of good ones as well. So you want to have your paper and pen. And then we are going to have Michael Crawford come and talk about his real estate portfolio and all the things that he is doing with regards to real estate. So first thing I'm going to do, just to bring it back old school here, we are the 10K Project. And again, we work together to build Black wealth by investing in Black-owned businesses. And of course, my power, oh, there we go. So what do we do? What are we talking about here? How do we do it? So someone sent this to me a while ago. It's How the Rich Invest. And this is based on family offices. Family offices are families that have $5 million plus to invest in. And this is for a period of time, how they were allocating their assets. So 27% went to real estate, which we're talking about tonight. 13% was in cash. 25% was in public equities. That's the stock market, things like that. But 22% was in private equity. And private equity is things like what the 10K project invests in, as well as any other shares of companies that are not on the public stock exchange, not on NASDAQ, not on the New York Stock Exchange. There was a time when these types of investments, we as regular people were not able to get access to, but now we are able to do so, and we're able to do it through equity crowdfunding. So private equity is, a great example of it is a company called Robinhood. Some of you are familiar with the app. In 2014, Snoop and Nas got in at, I haven't shared the story in so long. What was it? 19.54 cents. That's what it was. They got in at 19.54 cents. And in 2021, there was an IPO, initial public offering. And at the end of the day of 2021, the shares were worth $34.82. This is how the rich get richer. That means if Snoop had bought 100,000 shares, his shares he would have purchased for $20,000, and the shares on that day would have been worth 3.482 million. So again, the rich are investing close to 25% of their assets in these types of private equity. We are not telling you to invest 25% of your assets in this equity category. However, we are saying that this is an option for us, and it is a way for us to build Black wealth. The way that we do that is through the Jobs Act of 2016. Jobs Act of 2012. The Jobs Act of 2012 was signed by President Obama, and it allows everyday people like you and I to invest in companies like the rich do. We're able to do this through something called equity crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is not new to the Black community. It's when a whole bunch of people get together, put in small amounts of dollars in order to raise money for a specific cause. So GoFundMe is an example, but that is not an example of equity crowdfunding. That is just donation crowdfunding. If you grew up in the Black Baptist Church, the Building Fund is another example. The rent parties in the 1960s and 70s, if you had parents or grandparents, or perhaps you had them, that's all examples of crowdfunding. But now we get to experience crowdfunding where our businesses can offer shares to us as the general public in their privately held companies. And we get to participate in the profits if and when the company does well. So that is equity crowdfunding. So the way that equity crowdfunding works at the 10K Project is an entrepreneur is able to go to a portal that is governed by the Securities and Exchange Commission and FINRA, and they're able to raise anywhere from $10,000 to $5 million. And then every week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m., we feature a Black-owned business that is raising capital. And we do this through something called a Bet on Black pitch. They come kind of like Black Shark Tank. They come, share their investment opportunity with us, and then we get to ask that founder questions. Tawana doesn't leave until all the questions are answered. And then you as an individual gets to decide if you want to invest in that company and how much. Minimum investments are oftentimes $100 or as low as $100. So it's affordable for most of us. And then if the company makes it big, the crowd, i.e. all of us who invested in that company, gets to share in the profits. If not, investors only lose what they put into that company. So the 10K Project got its name because if 10,000 of us come together, or when 10,000 of us come together as everyday people and each put in as little as $100 into a business, that's $1 million we can raise for that business. We can fund our own companies, we can profit from our own innovation, we can create jobs in the community, and we can work together to build Black wealth. We are not waiting for the government to come and save us. We are here to save ourselves. So if that resonates with you, then you may want to become a member of the 10K Project. I am going to toss it over to Tawana here, but we have two different membership packages. Our gold membership for $100 is a lifetime, one-time payment. You never pay for membership again. You get access to the Bet on Black pitches. You also get access to our wealth building webinar replays in our knowledge center. And you also, if you have any kind of business or expertise, you're able to add that into the expert directory All of that for one-time payment of $100. And then Tawana, I'm going to toss it over to you to explain the platinum membership. And then when you're ready, let me know so that you can talk about the business buying as well.
Awesome. I just want to say something else with the gold membership. You know, Cherie and I have people calling us, telling us, you guys are charging way too little for what you offer, right? They want us to make recurring payments. They said the recurring payment should be $100. They tell us we're absolutely crazy for having this $100 lifetime price. And what I'm going to say to you is, I don't know that we'll keep it like that forever, because part of me thinks they're right? We created this low membership because we wanted to remove all barriers to entry, right? We wanted to build this crowd so that we could be up front and center for these founders, you know, to get that slide that Cherie showed a moment ago, right? If 10,000 of us only invested $100, right? And so we were trying to get to that $10,000 number, and we wanted to make it affordable because the real magic is happening as you're building your portfolio. And so, you know, we may change this gold membership fee. And so I just want to tell you, and this is not a scare tactic in any way, but if you're on the fence, now it's time to make a decision. It's really time to make a decision, because coming into this new year, that price may increase, right? And it may go to some kind of a recurring for anyone who comes in brand new. So now's the time to act. I kind of say that all the time, right? In regards to this wealth building journey that we're all on, we sit back and we observe sometimes way too long. So if you want to be a member, if you like what you see, you know, you don't want to miss that lifetime, because it will go up at some point. With that said, a few months back, maybe it's been 4 or 5 months ago now, we added this platinum membership because we wanted to help community members build some more disposable income, right? We talk about investing responsibly all the time. And in order to do that, you have to have disposable income, right? You can't invest with the mortgage money. You can't invest with the grocery money. And so a way to build more disposable income is to make sure all the finances are in order. And so for some of us, you know, we're at the beginning of the journey, some are in the middle of the journey, and some are, you know, already building millions of dollars of wealth. We understand that we are a community of both accredited and non-accredited investors. So we understand we're all across the continuum here. But for those who still need help with that financial planning, we partnered with a Black-owned financial planning company, Freeman Capital, and they have offered to us 6 months of financial planning in addition to all of the gold membership offerings that you get as well. And that membership package is only $347. If you're already a member, then we give you credit for that $100 you've already paid, and you only pay $347 to upgrade. All right, we do believe that for what you get, those packages are definitely affordable, and we definitely want you to take advantage of that 6-month financial planning if you're needing that. We've heard that a 6-month package from licensed and certified financial planners could go into the $4,000 range. And so, you know, we're nowhere near that. We're very affordable. So if that's something you've been thinking about coming into the new year, thinking about your finances, getting a budget, learning how to build wealth, then this may be a good option for you. The next thing I'll talk about, Cherie, if you want to go to the business buying slide, one of those other member perks that we get is access. Oh, go ahead.
One thing though, somebody asked in the Q&A, can Canadian citizens participate in the investment opportunities? So yes, you are. If you are a non-US citizen, or if you're outside of the United States, you can be an investor. You unfortunately cannot, however, be an entrepreneur that's doing a pitch. That is this SEC's rules. That's not Tawana and I rules. So I want to make sure that you know that. Also, Roland is saying, hope we have more real estate in 2022. Roland, we're going to have a lot of different things in 2022. So we definitely want you to stay tuned. We want you to have a well-rounded portfolio, and Tawana and I are working on some stuff in the back end for you.
Yeah. So one of the other member perks we have is we're partnering with amazing organizations to bring masterminds to the group, right? We know that there's so much for us to learn when we think about alternative investment and how we're building these portfolios. There's so much to learn. And so business buying is the thing that we're learning right now. We did get the approval to start sharing what the details are for the second session. As I shared with you guys before, we had our first session It was an 8-week session. And then in week 9, we actually bought a business. And this is how you buy a business with none of your own money down. I always forget to say that part, but that part's kind of magical, right? When you think, oh, none of my own money. Oh, wait a minute. Let me, your ears kind of perk up. So I don't want to leave that part out. Cherie and I both have gone through the first session. It was important for us to go through that session to make sure what we were allowing someone to present to you. I can tell you the class is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. You learn how to buy a business. You learn how to evaluate a business. You learn innovation in a way that you've never really thought about it before. You learn on how to accelerate a business's profits after you purchase it. It's absolutely an amazing. You obviously learn how to buy it with none of your own money, right? That's the other part you learn. But it is such a great class. We're going to share just this one slide with you. So what's interesting is I shared that this session was 9 weeks. What the teachers, the instructors realized is they had so much more information they wanted to share. They've made it 12 weeks now. And so what you get is a structured class format. It is over Zoom. You decide what night of the week it is together as a class based on everyone's kind of availability and best night. And obviously, you know, you can't make everybody happy. Everybody's not going to be available on a Wednesday night at 7. But they really try to come up with the best date for the whole group. So one thing you won't see here is what day of the week it is, because you guys decide that as a class. On February 21st is the first session. That's kind of the introduction section for everyone who signs up for it. And on that night is when you'll decide ongoing what night it is. But it's 12 weeks long. You're going to learn how to buy a cash flowing existing business. So let's talk about what that means, right? This is a business that already exists. It is creating profits. It's having revenue and profits and cash flow already, right? So literally, this business deal closes on a Monday. Friday, there's a check, right? Because the business is running. Think about all of the baby boomers that are retiring. They don't have any children or nieces or nephew to leave the business to, right? And so they're wanting to sell it. And these businesses already have staff, they have processes, they have revenue coming in, right? And so you literally are coming in, and you could even keep the same staff on to work for you, right? These are not necessarily businesses that the intent is for you to go in and run it. They're already running themselves. Unless, of course, you want to do, you know, something in that business, then obviously it's yours. You can do whatever you want to with it. But the goal is to have them continue doing all the heavy lifting, right? And you just get the revenue from it. You're going to learn how to develop that investor management system, right? So that's how you build the investor profiles and get the investors that are going to fund this for you. You're going to learn how to become an innovation unicorn. And that slide, guys, is real. So I told you, I'm in this class. We're learning all about innovation. Everywhere I go, I see innovation, or I see the need for innovation, and I can identify already after 9 weeks what the innovation is that thing needs. So going, running Saturday errands now is not fun for my family, because of course I'm like critiquing everything. They should do this, they should do that, and they should do that. And this is R3, and this is, and they're like, oh my God, can we just check out already? Like, but you start to become this walking, talking, process improvement brain that's functioning in the world. I mean, this class is absolutely awesome.
Can I say not only that, in the class, one of Curtis's former students now makes $300,000 working for a big company as their innovation officer, because Curtis taught him this innovation. And this guy, just like Tawana, is a walking, talking innovation like expert. And I'm talking about like Fortune 100 company is paying this guy major bucks to go around teaching all the engineers innovation. He had mentioned that in class.
Yeah, it's real. I'm not exaggerating. It's even hard sometimes to turn it off. So it gets a little frustrating because it's hard to turn it off. It's like a switch has been flicked, and that's what I see now. You also get a one-page investor relations website. So as you're building this investor management system, they're going to build you a website that kind of talks about your business, right? Because this is your business. You're learning how to be your own business buying entity. You're not gonna, he's not gonna stay with you all the time from a business buying standpoint. He will be there from a consultation standpoint, but he's teaching you how to go off and conquer, right? So they're throwing in a website. That was actually something that they didn't have this session, so that was nice. And then the cost structure for this is 3 payments of $600. So it turns out to be $600 for each of the months that the class would be. And then, we're going to talk about just the 12 weeks today because that's the beginning entry point, but there is a post class as well. And the $1,800 you pay for the 12-week session, you get full credit for that if you decide to take part 2 of this, right? So if you decide to take the post class, you get full credit. I've never seen that done. I've always seen like 25% of what you paid goes towards, they're giving you full credit. So you go into section 2 with a full $1,800 credit on the books if you're interested in that. But we wanted to just tell you today, the new session starts February 21st. If you're interested in this 12-week session at the 3 payments of $600, then email me at trivers@the10kproject.com. I think Cherie just put it in the chat. And we will send you the invite to the session that we're going to have on February the 15th. We're going to have it to talk about, I think it's at 6 o'clock, February 15th at 6 o'clock. We're going to make sure you get that invite where Curtis and Robin, the actual instructors, will come in and give you kind of the deeper dive into this, but we wanted to at least mention it today. The other thing I wanted to tell you, for everybody who's already a member in here, please go into the Knowledge Center and update your profiles in the professional database. I had a founder, I posted this in Facebook. I don't know how many of you saw this, but we had a founder come to us this week and asked me if we had a chief sales officer, chief revenue officer in our network, and if we had a chief HR officer in our network. And so, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the directory and see if we have that, right? So please, founders are calling. We told you they would, right? We've talked to them, we've helped them raise money, they're part of this community, and now they're building teams. They're building these winning teams, and we told you this was what was going to happen. That's why we got the database out there. You have to put your information in there, even if you have a product or service. Let's say you're not interested in being a chief anything, right? You got a product or service, put it in that database. People are going there to look for what you have to offer. And so, as they're coming to us, I want to be able to say, absolutely, here's the person's information, or they can log in and they can send you a note through the Knowledge Center, and you can see, you get the email and see that it's from another 10K member. So please, 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 if you are a member, if you're thinking about being a member, after you join, do not hesitate to put your information in that professional skills database. The last announcement I have is tomorrow night is the Bet on Black pitch, right? Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. we do those. We've recently started doing an incentive because we really want as many people to come live as possible. There's something about the energy that we have when there's, hundreds of people in the chat live, and those questions are coming to the founder and he or she is impressing us with their answers, right? That we want that to be a great moment for them and a great opportunity for us to, as in potential investors, for us to hear all the potential and possible questions. And we only do that if there's a lot of us there, right? And so please come live. The incentive is for every session you come live in a month, your name will go in a drawing for either $100 cash prize or the upgrade to the platinum package, which is worth $247. So whichever one, we know that some people already are platinum members. And so if you're already a platinum member, then you can get the cash prize of $100. Tomorrow's Bet on Black pitch person is in textiles and has been interviewed by Oprah Winfrey. Oprah don't talk to just any old body. So I'm excited for tomorrow night. I think that was all of my announcements.
Yeah,
Cherie, did I forget anything?
two more things. Yeah, so tomorrow night, we are going to have our first winner of that either $100 or platinum membership. You must be on to win. So what's going to happen is, like, if you've come to the last 3 sessions, your name goes in the pot, quote unquote, 3 times, right? And we are going to have everyone's name on a big spreadsheet. And we're going to have our entrepreneur sometime close to the 9 o'clock hour pick a number, and you must be on the call to win. So
that's that part right there. You got to be there to win. You don't want to come. You don't want to have been the one that came all month of January and then you can't come tomorrow and you don't get your prize. I'm gonna be hurt for you if that happens.
The last thing I want to make sure is, first of all, we want to thank everyone who has completed the investor survey. Okay, if you have not had a chance to complete the investor survey, I'm going to throw the link in the chat here. We really, really need this done. A couple of different reasons. Number one is it lets us know how effective we've been and estimate the amount of money that we have helped companies raise. And then number two, Tawana and I are trying to get more money from additional places so that we can have a bigger reach with regards to getting more investors involved, bigger investors involved, and also be able to help more entrepreneurs. So we have here, I'm going to just show really quickly, and I'll put it in the chat as well, our investor survey. It only took me about 5 minutes to fill out because I knew all of the businesses that I invested in and how much. But literally, you just go through here, you say which companies you invested in, how much money, you just go through. These are all of the ones we've had for 2020. So 2021, I'm sorry. So I'm going to put in Zoom the link here. And Tawana, I'm going to have you introduce Michael while I do this.
Awesome. Michael, you want to come on screen and join us? We're so glad to have you.
Let's see. The camera's not, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
The camera's not giving me permission to show my camera.
Well, let's see what's wrong with that. Let's see.
Okay, I think that's it right there, maybe, hopefully. Let's see if this works. Did you get a notification? It said it sent you something.
No, I don't see anything.
No, I don't see anything either.
Maybe you want to try to come out and come back in?
Yeah, I guess that's always a good little try. Okay, I'll be back 1 second. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Kind of like unplugging something and plugging it back in, right?
Like, that's what I do.
Me too. And it always works.
It always works that you know, just try to go out and start reboot the computer, all of that good stuff.
That's
so in the meantime, while Michael is coming back in, Tawana, why don't you introduce Michael? You actually introduced him to me. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about how you found out about Michael?
Oh, goodness. So we've had Michael on the schedule for a long time. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even remember how I found. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. One of our pitch founders. If you guys remember the gentleman that had it was Hugs. His name was Carl from Hugs International. Remember the student that was creating this solution for exchange students, right? And so Carl actually reached out and introduced us to Michael. And after Michael and I talked, it was like, okay, yeah, we got to get you here to talk to the community. I think Michael may have even said it first. Like, we were talking about the potential of him maybe doing an equity crowdfunding. And then Michael's like, I don't know what I want to do with that, but I want to come talk to your community. And I was like, you speaking my language, because Michael is the type of person we want to bring to you, right? We're all about exposing you to excellence and exposing you to alternative investment opportunities that are attainable, right? And so Michael's story is one, I'm gonna let him share it to you, but he is taking this real estate investment thing by storm, and it is absolutely amazing what he's doing. And hopefully he'll share some tips tonight to help us, decide if we fit in this industry and how to enter it and kind of how we too could even have a fraction of the success that he's been able to have. So, Mr. Crawford, I'm going to turn it over to you. We've been calling you the $17 million man.
Hey, I will definitely take that. I definitely have earned that. So I appreciate that. Sadly, I got to show you this mask. So I was at the game last night and my 49ers lost. So I'm still a little heartbroken there, but the stadium is nice. But thank you so much for having me and letting me be part of this prestigious group. And looking forward to be of assistance and of help in any kind of way. Just real quick hitters. So out here in San Diego, I lucked into this real estate game probably about 10 years ago. And I say lucked into it because my neighbor who owned a duplex was selling her duplex and I was like, hey, can I buy this? She's like, sure. So I started doing Uber, got enough money to buy a duplex. Had no idea what I was doing. It was pretty ran down. This is college living. So I'm on YouTube trying to figure out how to put in flooring, how to do all this stuff, painting cabinets, all this jazz. So I live in one and rent out the other. Okay, it works out nicely. It's cool. My buddy happens to be an architect. So yeah, Cowboys fans, I'm there. So my buddy happens to be an architect and he's like, I think we can build a unit in the back. And I was like, let's do it. So between me and 3 buddies, we raised $200,000. We build a unit in the back. Next minute, I go to a bank and the bank says, hey, you bought this property for $450,000. You put in $200,000, but it's worth 1.22 million. We'll give you a loan of $1 million. We're like, what? So we get a loan of $1 million, pay back the first 450, and now we have almost $400,000 cash. And we're like, this is nuts. So then we just duplicate the process over and over and over again. To the point where I'm in the middle of finishing my doctorate and I'm just like, I'm not sure I'm even going to practice medicine ever again. Finish up school for my mom's sake. And then we've been doing this now ever since. So we really take a focus on building and buying in our neighborhoods. That quote by Jay-Z really resonates. In our office, there's a picture of that, until you own your own, you really won't be free. Is really a message that we hold to ourselves. And we've been doing this ever since then. And we've accumulated $17 million worth of assets, and that number is growing. And we got 3 projects happening this year as well. So really excited to be part of this and share whatever I can with you guys.
Awesome. So we've got questions. Guys, if you've got questions, please put them in the Q&A. But I'm going to call out some things I just identified just based on what you said. First thing is, like, you were in the right place at the right time, right? Like that was part of it, right? Then you partnered with someone who could help you kind of take this on, right? You didn't try to do it by yourself. So often we sit and we try to figure out how we're going to do it all, right? Even the way the 10K started, Cherie was saying, 10,000 people give, put in $100, we can get $1 million. She said that 1 million times. And it wasn't until I said, when are you going to do something about it? And her first comment was, I can't do it by myself. The fact that she thought she had to do it by herself stopped her from doing it sooner, right? And so the fact that you had help to do this too, I think is big, because we talk about how we need each other, right? Now you need the right help, but doing this with a business partner, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, Oprah talks about it, when preparation meets opportunity, right? So you got to be in the right circles, right? So you got to have that right mindset, that right balance between you and yourself and physical, spiritual health and all that kind of stuff. And you got to have good people around you. And luckily I was in that spot. So I was there. I had 2 or 3 close buddies. Don't need a whole lot of folks. We all had a little bit of money, but together a little bit of money, made a little bit more money, and we were able to bet on ourselves. And, that was the biggest jump I've ever done, maxed out every possible credit card I had, owed everybody money, dodging phone calls, these kind of things. And it was a bet, and if you're going to bet on anything, you better bet on yourself. Rather, if it's going to school, starting a business, a church, whatever it might be, the bet on yourself is the best one, And I see a lot of people not doing that. They're betting on somebody else. How can somebody else get me rich? How can this cryptocurrency that can make $200 million overnight get me rich? And these quick courses and things of that nature. So I think betting on yourself with strategic partners is crucial.
Wonderful. The other question is, one of the things you said was how you improved the property, right? So you increased the value of this asset that you purchased. How did you know to do that?
Trial and error, YouTube University, so a lot of, whatever you want, it's on YouTube, right? So someone saying they don't have the information and the resource, in my opinion, is just not digging deep enough because it's out there. But trial and error, right? So I know my floors need to be fixed. I know my floors cost, $150 a square foot. I know if I hire somebody else, it's going to cost me $500 to, is that my internet or somebody else's? Can you guys see me still?
I see you and hear you fine.
Okay. I see you and hear you fine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I know I need to put new flooring in. So I go to Home Depot and we start putting flooring in, and it's just a matter of buying the tools and chugging away. And then my first flooring was probably horrible, but it worked, just good enough. And then you learn and then you adapt. And then when you become successful, or at least growing, you're able to facilitate, right? But so many people want to do everything and then facilitate it so fast that you just can't do that. So at first I had to wear every hat, right? At first I was the landowner, the gardener, the plumber, everything, right? Now I love it. I go to my buildings, people have no idea who I am, right? Quick story. I'm not really much about flexing, but I had a small flex. So I'm going to one of my buildings, which my sister lives in. So I'm going to go visit her. I kind of park in the front. So one of the tenants is like, oh, you can't park. I was like, oh, no, I'm going to be here for like 5 minutes. She's like, no, you can't park there, blah, blah, blah. I'm in unit 4 and 4, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be here in like 5 minutes. I'm just dropping off food. So I was like, why don't you call the property manager and they'll call the owner. And then when my phone rings, we can kind of figure it out. And like those kind of moments are still somewhat joyous in the back of my head. So the point of that being is that now I have people around me that I'm able to delegate these things to. But the journey was not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It really isn't. If you want to be self-sustainable and work for yourself and have people pay you for your skill set, it's supposed to be hard. I think that concept gets lost sometimes as well.
Absolutely. Wow. Did y'all hear that last part? That was because I think we do expect sometimes it to be easy. And when it gets a little hard, we quit. Right. And so the journey's not supposed to be easy. That hit where it was supposed to, Michael.
Yeah, at all. I was owing everybody money. It wasn't, I'm like, hey, it's going to happen, and just figure it out. I was driving Uber in the middle of school, taking student loans to pay for X, Y, and Z, and not trying to do the sad story saga. But the point of it being is just that it's a journey, it really is. And here we are now. But it was definitely a journey to say the least.
Wonderful. We've got a couple of questions. Erica says, how do you find your properties? Do you use MLS?
So we've done MLS, we've done the banded signs, where you see those signs, hey, sell your home for us, yada, yada, yada. What's happened for us is I build in basically 2 small areas next to college campuses, which is my main area. So we kind of know what we're doing. And I would say most of the projects that I found, it's just me driving around. Once again, it's just boots on the ground. I'm seeing a U-Haul truck come up. I'm like, hey, what's going on here, right? I'm seeing that. There's been twice when I've seen an agent putting a sign in the ground. I'm like, hey, don't put the sign in the ground. Let me get you an offer in 24 hours and figure it out. So sometimes technology is amazing and we use it in a lot of ways with bandit signs and Zillow and all these kind of other things and calling up owners. But for us, it's been boots on the ground and we don't go everywhere. We have a very defined formula that works well for us in our market here. So I'm not trying to build in Texas. I'm not trying to say, hey, let me go to Maine. I'm not trying to go to El Paso. It's San Diego, next to college campuses that work well for us.
Yeah, I actually had a real estate investor recently tell me that he only buys properties in his neighborhood even. So in his city, he doesn't even go outside of his neighborhood. That's the only place he invests in. And he actually has had great success. But he's able to keep an eye on his property. He's able to see when new things come up in that same neighborhood and he's on it. And that was something he said, sometimes people try to start too big, right? Mm-hmm. They're looking in this city and that city. They don't even live near those cities, but he said, just start in your neighborhood and build your success and then maybe grow from there.
Right. And who knows your neighborhood better than you, right? So as you see a couple people coming in, hey, okay, this seems nice. So, and I'm too anal to let my money be somewhere else where I'm not watching it. So we got our crew, we got our game plan, and it works well for us out here in San Diego. But this formula can be duplicated anywhere, and I think that's the point of it. We all know real estate, as you kind of showed in that opening chart, from really back in the day in terms of America. Real estate was the main focus of people's asset classes, and it still should somewhat be up there. So it's going nowhere, and it's a very good asset class, and this formula can be taken anywhere on the road. And with technology like the Airbnb and things of that nature, it's given us even greater numbers.
Very good. Chris says, do you recommend investing in REITs?
Yeah. So everything comes back down to risk tolerance, right? REITs are amazing because you set it and get it, and you're going to get for the most part, a somewhat guaranteed return back there on it, right? Most of those guys are going to be 17 to 18%, somewhere around there, for a very good solid REIT in a growth area, and that might be where you're at. So I think it comes down to your risk tolerance there, and how much work you want to put in, because you might be somebody who says, hey, I like what you're doing, Michael, but I have no passion for doing this. So I'm going to go put this $1,000 in a REIT, or put it on a crowdfunding campaign like Hugs or somebody else that's doing something. And that makes perfect sense as well. Obviously, a lot less downside with the REIT because you got so many other different companies and different businesses in that actual asset class. So I think a very good strategy, but not one, I think, for what most of us are trying to accomplish right now.
Very good. I saw something pop up in the chat. Guys, if you've got a question, put it in the Q&A for me, because sometimes they get lost in the chat. Roland says, I live in Virginia and plan on moving to the Tampa area in 2022 or 2023. Should I start with a duplex to get started?
Roland, great question. Anybody who is buying their first home that has had to work for that money should only be buying a duplex for their first time. It makes no sense not to, because the land is the fixed cost, right? So what my business strategy is, I buy a single family home that's beat up, I tear it down, I add 8, 12, 14 units, or I'll keep the house, add 6, 8 units in the back. So the land is a fixed cost no matter what. So if you're buying a home for your first time, the duplex is the exact way to go, because you're basically getting 2 houses for the price of 1, or for the price of 1.5. And then you'll be able to rent that bottom unit out for probably time and a half. So now you'll be able to get a discounted rent. So anybody who doesn't have to move into a single family home where you might have to have 6 kids in the backyard and, and you've done some planning, the duplex is the only way to go. And it's the same loan. So no matter what loan you're getting, they're still going to loan to you, as long as it's less than four units, it's going to be the exact same loan. So the duplex is the exact strategy to do. I did it. My wife did it. We actually bought 2 separate homes before we got married, so we can use our loan separately, and then we got married. So it's levels to this whole game, but the duplex is one of those ones that will accelerate your retirement plan greatly, if you're willing to have a neighbor above you.
Okay. I like that last tip. I'm getting married in July. That means I need to buy something quick.
Yep, exactly.
Separately before July. Okay, yep. I love that. Erica said, are you still in residential, or have you moved to commercial?
So we're in residential commercial. So commercial means 4 or more, or 5 or more units. So single family residential is basically 1 to 4 units. 5 and more is commercial. So usually I'm buying a single family home or a duplex, and then I'm tearing it down and then building commercial residential with which more than 5 units. So my average building probably is around 12 units, but we're buying a smaller asset to add more doors to it. So we're not in terms of commercial like your strip malls and stuff like that. That's not where we feel like the pathway is for us. We want tenants that need housing, not need businesses. And as we all know, the climate's changing for commercial daily.
Right.
I have some questions too. I don't know
Sheree.
if you're okay. So, first of all, like Michael is my favorite type of person because you all know, I've said it before, I have no interest in being a landlord. I want to be twice removed from landlordom. So my goal is to like make as much money as possible and have like 25% in some sort of real estate where somebody else is managing it. And I know people say, you just get a property manager. I'm like, no, I want to be twice removed from all that. So
Completely.
I want the property manager calling Michael, who would then ultimately call me like, if there's like a true issue happening. So, but I recognize everyone's path within real estate is different. But I did want to talk a little bit. First of all, I also appreciate your honesty about owing everybody, because as an entrepreneur, there are times as entrepreneurs where that just happens. It's very difficult to be a full-time entrepreneur and have great credit or like be completely out of debt, things like that. Things ebb and flow all the time as well. So if anybody's thinking about entrepreneurship being glamorous, oftentimes it's not. But I did want to talk about how you analyze your deals. So what's your process? How did you study like how to analyze deals? I'm going to start off with that and then we'll kind of go deeper into it.
Yeah, so great. I got a document that I normally use. If you want, I can share things or I can just walk you guys through it. I'm not sure, if there's a preference there. Any thoughts on that?
If you wanted to share it, we'd love to see it.
Let me
Yeah, I
see if I
think
can-
anytime
if I
we
can
can
share.
empower
We can,
the community, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is a project. So the Carl. So my last two projects and this project are all named the Carl, who's my father. So my father was murdered about 7 years ago. So really making a really big push to keep him remembered throughout San Diego. So what we're trying to do is, as I said before, land is a fixed cost. The cost of my land is what it is, no matter if I have 1 unit on it or 3,000 units on it. So the land is a very fixed cost, right? So you can see hopefully here, my land cost in this is $700,000. What we try to be around is my cost of land. So what I know is what I'm going to build on the actual unit. So I try to keep my cost of the land around $60,000 to $100,000 a door. And this is in San Diego. So if I'm paying $700,000 for the land, that means I should be able to build a minimum 7 units there, minimum. Hopefully that math makes sense. And if you can add more, obviously it becomes more, right? So in this case, I'm adding 14 units, right? So my cost of my land is now $50,000. Okay. Now we move into the cost of construction. And this is going to vary drastically depending if you're in San Diego versus El Paso versus New York versus Atlanta, right? But the ratios should somewhat be there and be accurate. So my cost of construction, I try to make that basically ideally, and I do everything in-house now. So I have a team. So we have an architect, we have engineers, we have framers, plumbers, everything in-house, right? So no one really builds for less than what I build for, because we get it pretty direct. But I try to make my cost of construction half of what the new appraised value is going to be for these 14 units. So in this case right here, my new appraised value, as you'll see right here, which is not current anymore, is right around $8.7 million. Okay, so my cost of construction is $4 million. My cost of my land is 4.7. So my total cost right here is $4.7 million. Now they do the appraisal and they say, hey, once this is all built and stabilized, it's going to be worth 8.7, which is lower than this is old now. But let's just use that number. And hopefully these metrics make sense. So that's a real quick snapshot in terms of what we're looking for on the cost per door, on the cost of construction, and then what we hope to have this value appraised for at the end. And then obviously there's the numbers that we run in terms of what our rents are going to kind of be. And then there's a metrics there for that. We try to rent for, in our area, try to rent for around 250 a square foot. You can see all those there. And then here's the cost of all my consultants. So to get all my plans done and everything, that's another $300,000. And then there's permits and fees, and then all the other jazz. But I think the main thing you were asking me basically is these numbers right here. Your cost per door of what you can build, and then your cost per construction versus what it's going to be worth in the end.
Yeah, now see, so going to the cap rate there, I've always heard that you want a cap rate of 6%, 6 to 8%. So I think it's interesting.
So it depends if you're buying or I'm selling, right? Okay. So out here in San Diego, so the lower the cap rate, the higher my building's going to sell for.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you use the cap rate for if you're going to hold it.
Right. So this is, so a normal exit cap rate here in San Diego is probably 4%. And if we went lower to 3.75, you would see this number grow higher. And if we went higher, this number would grow lower. So you want the cap rate to be higher, meaning 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 when you're buying the asset. And then when you're selling it, you want it to be lower when you're selling the asset. So it depends on what side of the coin you are, and then where you're at, right? Okay. So for us out here in San Diego, 4% is pretty spot on. So you got some things selling for 3.5, some things selling for 4.5, but 4% is the magic number. At least what most banks are going to use when you get your actual loan. Okay. And then go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say that, I always like an all-in number. So I would want to count the soft costs and like any and every dollar that I have to spend in order to get this thing operational and revenue producing. I like to put all of those numbers in.
And you're spot on. So right here, you see total project cost. You see my number is 5.6 versus the 4.6 number over here. Because now we're including the 316 soft costs. I'm including my permit fees. I'm including my developer fee, my insurances, the cost to borrow the actual money. So all of that other stuff is another $1 million. And you can see that number right here. So here's the hard cost. Here's my soft cost. So here's my 5.6 number. So yeah, so you're right. So here's what it costs to build, but here's what it really costs to kind of build. Now, and then here you are now. And then your bank's going to give you a loan against this number, this 8.7 million number, where then you'll own. So what our magic sauce is, and anybody watching is you build, you buy something, you build on it, so you create equity. And before the strategy was, and we've all seen HGTV where, hey, you can paint it, put some cabinets in it. That's not how it works, at least out here in San Diego, because the cost of the land and people know what it is. So the only way to really add value, especially out here, is to create doors. So when I buy something that has one door for $700K, and I can put 13 more basically on there for another $4 million, I'm creating so much equity in this deal that it becomes almost impossible for it not to work. So now I've created $8.7 million worth of equity off of $5.6 million of actual money. So in 3 years, which is how long this process takes. So this isn't like you can fix and flip in like one 22-minute episode of HGTV. This is a 3-year process. So you got to be able to hold on and carry all this. But I create so much equity that it works out. So what the secret sauce is, this is worth 8.7 million. I then go to the actual bank. They're going to give me a loan probably of around 70 to 75% of what the actual value is of this. So now they're going to give me a loan, say for $6.5 million, right? The asset's worth 8.5, just for like number's sake. They're going to give me a loan for 6.5, right? I'm only in for 5.6. So now I've made $800,000, $900,000 in my pocket. I got paid my developer fee of $120,000 for putting the deal together, and I still own the actual asset, debt free, no money in, and now it's cash flowing. And now this $500,000, probably 390 of it goes to my debt service, and then the other $100,000 comes back to us. And now I take my $800,000 and do what? We double down and just do it again. So I've leveraged my money up front, then use the bank's money at the end to have them pay for me to build my own project, which I still own. And then you can see when it becomes this aha moment. And it's like, oh, wow, this is crazy. And then every month, your rents just keep going up 3%, if not more in certain areas. And then you can start to really build yourself a nest egg. If you get one or two of these, the party's over, because right here, my net income at year one is 350. I've make 500, so I make $150,000 at year one, on top of the 800K that I got out, on top of the 120 that I got from the beginning. And the main thing is I still own my asset in full. And now I've created affordable housing units for my community. I own it. Everybody wins.
That is great.
Wow.
So it's pretty
One of
crazy.
the interesting things, I belong to another YouTube channel, and the woman always talks about people leaving California, mass exodus out of California, which is happening out of California and New York. But what I like about your business is that you are located near college towns, and people are still going to go to college no matter what, and mom and dad is most likely footing the bill for them to go to Berkeley or, UCLA or any of those schools. So I think that's a very interesting business model. We've seen a lot of house hacking with college towns as well, even just renting the rooms out. The kids they don't want to live on campus. They want to rent a room and then just have the shared areas. So I know that people are probably in here in the Q&A asking about a master class.
There's Q&As. There are questions.
So Valerie, go ahead.
Just real quick. So you hit the nail on the head again. So we are the first people now in our area to do this Airbnb meet student housing, right? So we've now partnered, well, let me say this. The university came to us and said, hey, we love what you guys are doing. Can we start sending students your way kind of as this approved vendor, right? So now what we do is we furnish everything. We charge you by the room, and it's set it and forget it. So this is my newest project I just finished.
There's some music. Yeah.
Just so you can see the inside.
Oh, we
still see the spreadsheet.
You can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't see my screen?
No.
Yeah,
Am I
we
able
still
to
see the
share?
spreadsheet up.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot. Okay, let me change that. You can just,
And
you guys were
also,
just,
you're able to turn off the music because they give us copyright strikes on
oh,
YouTube.
gotcha. I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble here. So let's see.
Thank you.
I think you only had me for sharing of my, can I share a video on this?
Should be able
You
to.
should be able to. You need to stop your initial sharing of this PDF though.
Okay,
So like stop sharing that and then restart your share.
okay,
There we go.
okay. Oh, I need to hit this, optimize for video. Okay, that's the wrong one. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yeah,
Yes.
now we can see it. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me back
That's
this up.
nice.
Oh, let me try to turn this. Let me see how I turn this music off real
Yeah,
quick.
YouTube is weird.
No, I'm with you. Just turn it down.
But I would
You
live
guys
there.
can see it. This is a 3-unit that we just built. So there's 5 of these in a row. We furnish everything. We give you your bed, TV, internet, pay for your water, pay for your cable, super nice finishes, and then you rent this room for us. So we just started this school semester, and you can
That's
see
amazing.
we build a pretty high-end product as well.
Yeah, that is nice.
So
I would have lived there in college.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So that's that. So I was just trying to give you a glimpse. This is a house that we just finished as well that just sold for $3.7 million. So it's pretty wild out here. It's the Wild West.
Wow.
Let me get back to my.
And I mean, look, everybody, you don't have to do this in San Francisco. You could do this in Birmingham, Alabama. You can do this near North Carolina A&T or, Virginia State University.
Yes. So this isn't like, hey, only in San Diego, right? This is anywhere. And you can hopefully see from those numbers. And what we're trying to do is buy land. And this is the formula, right? Just buy land in an area that has the potential of growth, put more units on there that are on there currently, do a cash out refinance, and now leverage your sweat equity, pull all your money out or most of it, and do it again. And you can do this anywhere. And if you're doing it in Alabama or Texas, that just means that your numbers are less to unbuild, and you might make a little bit less on the rents, but the startup costs are way less. So those people that are in somewhere else where you can buy a duplex for $50,000 versus $500,000, then you're better off. Mm-hmm. So you can do this anywhere.
So I have one more question, then we'll open it up to the questions in the Q&A. Contractors. Contractors are the death of a lot of projects. However, you said that you seem to have a hack with regards to, or a tip with regards to how to, keep those costs low. And it sounds like keep your projects under budget as well. So I'm all ears. How do you do that?
So the hack isn't really a hack. It's me now having been doing this for over a decade and having partnered with the right people. So my plumber is the same plumber on all of my jobs. We've gotten to the point now to where I actually have a framing crew that is part of our business. So I don't have to, we have framing in-house. We do electrical in-house. So for those guys who don't have that, which is most of us, you got to go through those growing pains. But the main thing here, like anything, and this crazy crypto market that I see everybody tossing their money into, do your research, right? Hey, you built this house down the road. Hey, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna go call this owner. I'm gonna get 4 or 5 or 6 bids and see how much this price actually costs, right? So you really have to protect your money by doing that due diligence. And once you find someone, stick with them. And a lesson that I had to learn through this whole thing was get the cheapest guy, right? And that is not the case. So my plumber who I have now, the first one, super cheap, but it cost me so much more in time delays and construction changes. And now I understand for quality work and speed, you have to pay for that, right? And there's certain things that I don't mind doing myself because I can still do it. But there's certain things where a professional just better serves it and is way more efficient than I will ever be. So there's no super hack there besides the due diligence and verifying someone's work, just like you would if someone was applying for a job and you were HR. It's the exact same thing. You have to verify, check, and recheck. And then don't pay the 50% up front. Normally, you can just pay for the materials. So, hey, you're going to do some stuff for me. Let's go to Home Depot. I'll pay for all the tile. You do all the work, and then I'll pay you, right? Because they have the protection to put a lien against your property. You don't have any protection if they go out there and run with that. So if they don't have the money to float the materials, that's fine. Hey, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to pay you a dime until work gets done. Or if it's worst case, it's on this progressive plan in terms of quarters, but you shouldn't be paying half up front, especially if someone that you don't even know. But get 3, 4, 5, 6 bids, as many as you can.
Makes sense. So, Tawana, either I could ask the questions or you could ask the questions.
Yeah, I can ask them. That's fine.
Okay.
Valerie said, can you share your ideas on whether or not the forbearance program might create a wave of foreclosures?
The forbearance program, I think there will be some people that get knocked out. The forbearance in terms of student loans, I'm guessing she's speaking about, correct?
Yes, I think so.
So I think it's a combination of two things. I think that I think some people will get knocked out and sadly will end up losing their homes. I don't think it's going to be that many. And I think most people that were in that realm were either single family homeowners or were currently renters all already. The good thing about this thing, I was here through the last bubble or the last crash. And what happened to all of my rentals? Nothing. They all went up because people who lost their homes had to then rent. So going back again to our business plan as a community, if you're building in the right areas, I don't want to say you're 100% guaranteed because that's never the case for anything. But we used to have a slogan like we are recession proof because you had to then come and rent. So I think that there will be some downturn, but nothing drastic like we saw back in 08 or something like that. And nothing for really to affect the market. If anything, it's going to affect the credit market, which will then affect rates. But we already know the Fed's going to raise rates 3 times this year, with the first time coming up in March. So I think all in all, if you keep with the foundational pillars of what I'm speaking about, you'll be fine regardless. It's about buying right, building affordable, and then getting your cash out.
Very good. Erica said, are you willing to share this pro forma summary sheet?
Oh yeah. Anything I have is for y'all. So it's So whatever I can do to help someone get to the next step was the whole point of me being here. This isn't like some kind of sales pitch. I don't even accept outside money, and we were speaking about that, and that might happen up at like some another point. I'm here strictly on some good vibes, strictly on I've found the cheat code in the system and trying to get as many of us up on game. If you guys were to research me, and this is the first time anybody's ever seen me on camera, sadly, I hide behind the autonomy of the internet, right? I found that when people find out I'm Black, then things change differently, and that's a whole different topic. So my wife was like, why are you doing this? And I was like, it's a really nice vibe, and let's just see what happens. So everything I do, I build for myself. I don't do work for anybody else. I'm building in the areas that I want to build in. So yeah, anything I can do to be of assistance is what I'm here for.
Yeah,
I love
really
that. Thank you
appreciate
so
you
much,
being
Michael.
here and agreeing to share with us and show your face and things like that. So we don't take that for granted.
Absolutely. Erica had another question. I think this was on the form. She said, is the site area the square footage of the land that you'll build on?
So the site area is probably on that pro forma is the whole lot. So you probably saw 5,000 and change on that one. So that's the whole lot size. So most lot sizes out here in San Diego are going to be 5,000 square feet ish, depending on where you're at. And we're packing them on there. So a 5,000 square foot lot is probably anybody's single family home that has one thing on there, and we're putting 14, 18, 22 units.
Wow. Kevin said, how often do you run into zoning regulations that restrict the number of doors you can add to that fixed land?
Okay, I see you, Kevin, trying to get your research on. So I definitely appreciate that as well. So you have to know what you're doing, right? So that's where I probably add the biggest asset to my company is that. So I'm really good about knowing what I can build and where I can build and what I can't do. And we try to arbitrage that, right? So when I see someone selling a single family home as a single family home agent, and I'm like, hey, this is in my RM37 zoning. Great, I'm gonna buy this. So the first duplex that I bought that I spoke to you guys about that I bought from my neighbor, I owned that. Next door was going up for sale, and I saw the woman hammering in the sign. But I had to make sure that she didn't know that I owned next door, because then that would give her great leverage. So once again, going to your point, Kevin, is knowing what you're doing and having that educational and that arrow only makes you more powerful, because now you know what can be built there. So I don't do anything without knowing what I can and can't build, because then my pro forma wouldn't work, right? So I have to know I can build 14 units or 2 units or whatever it is. That fancy house that I just showed you guys, because that's in the ocean area, I can only build so high. So I had to like know that going into it. I had to know that I had to go through Coastal Commission, which would take me an extra 9 months of like planning. So you have to have all these arrows with you that only allow you to be more successful. Or they'll burn you because you think you can build 14 units and it comes out you can only build 2, then you're in a sad, really sad spot. So great question, but that education is power. And in this case, the education is money.
Wonderful. Jeffrey says, how close to San Diego State?
I have one project out by San Diego State off of El Cajon, but most of my stuff is next to USD. So we're kind of Mission Valley, Linda Vista area. USD is a private school. So kind of going back to your earlier point, mom and dad footing the actual bill, those kind of things. We do something unique. So for every building that we build, we have X amount of affordable housing. In that building that I just showed you guys, there's 7 units, or there's 8 units total, and 2 of them are affordable housing. So then I went to USD and said, hey, let me meet with BSU and other minority groups, and let's offer these scholarships to the actual students. So we have 6 students staying in our building for about $600 a month versus $1,500 a month. So once again, building your own, you can do what you want to do. So those 6 students are saving, probably $10,000, $20,000 a year living with us.
That's interesting because last week we were talking about how do we get more Black men into the trades. And this could be a way, you're able to learn on the job and get an apprenticeship and, things like that. And a lot of people don't know that the trades these days are adding a lot of advanced digital skills as well. So,
Completely.
It sets them up for, if they're going to school for like upper management or engineering degree, but they know about construction. So it just makes them a lot more attractive.
Completely.
In the market.
And that's something where I've fallen short on because I feel like I've tried to reach out. So USD is where I did my undergrad, UCSD and my doctorate, and both majority white schools, right? Which is totally fine, serviced me amazingly. I'm happy about it. But we never have had that kind of connection there to where I can draw from that. So if anybody has any tips or tricks that allows me to be more successful with that, or what they are doing to cultivate our own, I would love that because I would love to have mentorship programs that allow them to, hey, I'm in school for a poli-sci, but if I can't become a lawyer, I do have this skill trade that allows me to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Or then they become valuable in construction law.
Exactly.
Right.
Things like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. Keno has a very good question here. Keno says, have you considered converting your pro forma sheet into software product?
No, I'm anti tech and I hate it. I still got an Android cell phone and my wife hates it. I don't even know how to do all this stuff. So that's stuff that I would love feedback on and would love to figure out how to do certain things like that.
Michael needs a co-founder.
Yeah, so I definitely need some help. And then my buddy, everybody has one who's all about crypto. He's like, dude, we got to make this into an NFT, and then we can sell your NFT of the land and people can own parts of the building through the NFT. And I was like, yeah, man, it sounds nice, but really though, so
he's right though, Michael. He's right.
That's the
what he's saying makes sense.
Week,
So I'm sitting back and trying to absorb more, but I got my hand in a lot of fires, but I definitely see what he's saying, and the tech is there, and the metaverse and everything else. Yeah. But the NFT concept seems to be fitting. So if I ever go down that road, you guys will be one of the first where I would say, hey, we're launching and we're selling.
And we've got a great resource for you too. One of our original co-founders is in the space heavy. She's actually got an NFT project. She's not on this evening, but her name is Talisha Shine. She'll be here next week to talk about NFTs and the whole metaverse and everything. So great.
So I might need that contact and make.
We actually have a few contacts. We've got Naja, we've got Talisha, we've got Eric. We've got people.
So yeah, I'm gonna definitely pick you up on that because I think there is some symmetry there. That, and I'm thinking about, you know, the college students. Here's this new coin, buy into it. That's in your neighborhood. You can see it getting built, and it's backed by a real asset, not just something in the actual metaverse. And you can get some dividends off of that as well. So so yeah.
Future. And the platforms are already there. So next week, Talicia's coming along with a woman named Ann to talk about artificial intelligence. So everything is about investing in future tech. And so go ahead, Tawana.
Kevin also said the talent resources that you have in-house, are they contracted and paid by each project, or are they employees and get a paycheck regardless of the work level?
Yes. So when I say in-house, that means they're on payroll with me year round. So my engineer, my architect, my framer, my electrician, and my handyman, they're on with me year round. So if we're not building something, I'm subbing them out to go build something for someone else, or they're doing repairs, those kind of things. So yeah. So if someone needs a framer and we're not busy, I'll happily sub out my guys to go out there and work. But like my plumber, my HVAC guy, my flooring guy, those are all guys that we just hire once the job comes around.
Okay. Ms. Vivian said, any advice on dealing with building code agencies?
Building code agencies in terms of like your city or like HUD or what do you mean there?
Ms. Vivian, can you give us some clarification in the chat, my dear?
But in general, and my mom said this to me, you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar, right? So I would say my secondary best skill set is me getting in front of somebody, state and local. So state doesn't have too much jurisdiction on things. Locals where you're at. So the San Diego Housing Commission, the San Diego Municipal Code, those kind of things. So once again, going back to Kevin's first point, you got to know your code. You got to know what you can build, because you can't just wing this, because you're talking about tens, if not millions of dollars. So you have to know what you can and build. And then you get the right people. So you get the right engineer, you get the right architect. And if they know what's going on, then that becomes very successful. No one knows more about me in building in USD than like me. So yes, forming those great relationships is a major part of any successful business, right? No matter what you're building. But yeah, so if you can go in there, and if you're in this standoff, you know, that like massaging technique works a lot better than just the aggressive, when you rip someone's face off kind of thing. And then these building people, state, local, all these people can drain your project and make you go super slow. So I think the honey concept works a lot better, but you have to know what you're building and where you're building it at and all those kind of ins and outs.
Wonderful. And Kino put his contact information here. Kino runs a software development agency. Kino was the one who said, have you thought about developing a software out of the Forma form?
Oh, well, yeah. I don't know where that's at, but if you can
in the Q&A, let me grab it, and then I will actually email it over to you.
Just send my email out here.
We're serious over here, Michael. We get business done. So
yeah. So that's my email address, and you can see how anti-tech I am, rocking that Yahoo, right?
Yeah, you only
I can always find Michael's email because he is so unique with his email address.
So and that 07 was when I got that, and that hasn't changed, you know. So my cell phone number been the same number since I got it. You know, so I'm just pretty classic. So yeah, but shoot me an email with any kind of contact information. Anybody needs help, I'll definitely send you guys the pro forma, the Excel one, so you can kind of adapt it to your own numbers. And if there's some ways for some synergy and to make some money and to empower us, please definitely send me an email.
Wonderful. So Tuesday said, and so Tuesday he answered this. He is only in San Diego. But Tuesday's question is, are you only in San Diego, or do you open up are you open to other college towns? She says, I've been wanting to do something like this in Merced, near UC Merced.
Yep.
Would love to find out more on how to.
Yeah, so that's not too far. But yeah, so we're only in San Diego, but I think, like we said, there's the college towns everywhere. And UC Merced has a nice things, and they still have affordable land out there as well. So I can see that being very, very successful as well. And if I can help point you in the right direction, you're in my neck of the woods, come on down, see some of my work, you know, and see what's going on. But as of now, we have a formula that works well for us, and it's right here. Basically, we're basically at 3 colleges, Point Loma Nazarene University, San Diego State, and USD.
Very good. Sasha said, first time home buyer here. What's your opinion on buying a house that needs work on it, upgrading it yourself so that you can add value to it, or buying something that's already upgraded but more expensive?
You have to give yourself the power to buy the house pre someone else's work. If you have the ability, and this is the main caveat, if you have the ability to see the vision of what something can be without it being there, then you have to go ahead and do it. You're going to save probably 30 to 40% off whatever the cost of that renovation budget was. And you're going to be able to build it the way you want to. Now, if you're someone who can't see that, then go ahead and like buy it new, right? And just say forget it. But if you have the ability to say, hey, for the next 3 months, we're going to bear down, deal with some construction in the house, you're going to save yourself 30 to 40% or add 30 to 40% off of whatever you bought it for. And that's hard money to kind of turn away. So at my personal house, we start construction there tomorrow again. So all I do is I can't afford to sell my house and move somewhere else. So I just keep on building at my house, you know? So I added an extra story, and now I'm adding an extra living room. So if you have the ability to sit there and you have good contacts and have the cash, that's the main part, because when you're buying that actual loan, when you're buying that actual house that's brand new for $500K, they're going to give you the full $500K. Right. But if you buy the ran down house for, let's just say, I use the word ran down loosely, but if you're buying that for $400K and you got to put $40K into it to make it worth $500K, if you don't have that right loan, you have to bring that $40,000 cash. Right. And that might not be worth it then for you. So it depends. But if we're just saying, hey, apples to apples, every time do the work yourself, because you get to pick what you want and get it done. But there's a lot of, it's going to take you 2-3 months, depending on what you're doing. And you got to have that actual cash. Now, there are loans that help you with the renovation budget, especially for first-time home buyers. But if you don't have those, that might answer the question for you.
Wonderful. And then the final question here is, Love It says, are you a licensed builder?
So I have a license for my general contractors, so we can and build. So that's a licensed GC. There is no license for a developer or something like that. So my technical term is a developer, and we have a GC company which manages the actual builds. And then if you get proficient in this, you have companies inside of companies, right? So I have a property management company that manages my properties. Then I have a construction building that builds the building for the developer, which is still me, but they're all kind of these different companies that are intermingled. So you're figuring out ways to keep money within. But yeah, we are licensed. That's one thing you do want to check and verify if you're having someone do work for you. Now, there are certain trades where you can cut some money on. You might not need someone who's licensed, who's going to hang tile. Right? You might not need someone who's licensed, who's going to hang drywall. You might not need someone's licensed who's going to build you a fence. So go ahead and save that actual money. You might not need someone licensed who's going to do demo, depending if you're going underground or not. So those kind of like trades, you might hire somebody who's a buddy of that took some Instagram photos and called it what it is. But as soon as you're talking about water, electricity, framing, concrete, foundational stuff, get someone who's licensed, because there's a bond there that you can go after.
Very good.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to be cheap.
Right. There are certain times.
There's
Right.
certain times.
And there's certain times when you can totally be cheap. So all my finishes and fixtures that maybe hopefully look nice, at least that's what my wife says, Amazon. Amazon is killing it. So
yeah.
Water faucets, shower heads,
Mhm.
all those things, Amazon.
Just
They
have it
look just as good
delivered.
as mowing, and no one knows the actual difference. So there are
Yeah.
certain times when you can be cheap and no one has any idea of what that faucet is versus what it isn't. But my framer, he's about that life, and he's amazing. And the concrete guy, he does what he's supposed to do, you know.
Mhm.
So there's that picking it and like choosing there, you know. No one knows the difference between marble versus granite, really. Right? It all looks the actual same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
save that $900. Unless this is your dream home, then go ahead and spend it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's a funny point. I've never gone to anyone's bathroom or kitchen and said, "Oh, they don't have a mowing."
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly.
Especially college kids are not doing that.
Well, exactly. You
They
know.
just want it to look decent, and that's
They
it.
just wanted to,
That's
when they turn it on, water comes out. That's it,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And it looks good. And that's what we all get hung up on like HGTV. And I have this talk all the time. It's like, no one cares about the roof and the foundation. They're like, oh, this backsplash is nice. It's like, this is the least amount of money I'm spending in the whole house is this backsplash, you know, but it looks nice. So, so keep that in the back of your head as you're kind of moving through all this. So yeah.
Great.
Roland said, "Thanks, Michael. You are in the zone."
Thank you so much, Roland. I definitely appreciate it. And to everybody here, I definitely appreciate it. Like I said, this isn't like an empty call. So if I can be of assistance, let me know. Would love to come back and be part of anything that you guys else have going on. Would really, really appreciate the plugs for the NFT space and anybody in software, if that can help us out. And if you're local or coming to San Diego, come on and check me out.
Perfect.
We appreciate this. This is, thank you so much. I know coming into this public space was something you had to consider doing. I feel so honored that you chose us to do it in, and I feel like this community is going to benefit so much from it. And so thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you back. And I really appreciate what you guys are doing. This thing called wealth is a word that I think people don't really understand what it means. Like, you don't get it until it's your kids' money and your kids' money, right? So, and it has to start with you, and you have to be the first person in your family tree that like changes your whole outlook of everything. Yeah. So I commend each and every one of you for being on this call. But once again, the journey is supposed to be uphill. It's supposed to be hard. And I can't emphasize that enough. You're not supposed to give someone $1,000 and be rich in 24 hours or something along those lines. So be wary. I see a lot of people going down the wrong path because they're chasing these unexpected gains. Be cognizant of your money, and it's supposed to be an uphill journey. But if I can be of assistance, let me know. But it's supposed to be difficult.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you guys to the community for coming out, once again this week. Thank you in advance for taking this information that Michael has given you and doing something positive with it, right? Making a difference with it. I mean, he took his time to come out and share this with us. We owe it to ourselves to do something with this great information. Please do. And it takes all of us. And, we only are who we are as we all are together. So I hope you guys take that and, share the message, because for lack of a better word, people that don't look like us have been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. And it's crazy, man. When I first did it, I was just like, what? Like, I can own my own land and get all my money back and still getting paid monthly from it. Like, it's mind blowing. Like, still can't even comprehend it, so it's there. Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. Oh, I was going to just say, don't forget tomorrow, Bet on Black Pitch. Cherie not giving you your prize if you win unless you're there live. So you want to be in the room tomorrow. Our founder is in textiles, right? And I told you that she's been interviewed before by Oprah. So we're in for a treat tomorrow at tomorrow's Bet on Black Pitch. So if you're a member already, we expect to see you there. If you're not yet a member, you do have to be a member to join us at the pitches. And so please visit v10kproject.com. $100 one-time, lifetime membership. Come on.
People are asking about receiving the webinar recording. So our YouTube channel is Black 10K Project. YouTube channel, Black 10K Project. We live stream there every week. So any of our Monday sessions are live and public on our YouTube channel. Also, it'll be in the Knowledge Center as well, but want to let people know that. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tawana. Thank you, Michael.
Thank
We
you,
really
Michael.
appreciate you being here. Yes, you are definitely part of, we're like the mafia. You win.
Yeah, once you in, you
Hey,
you
cannot
can't even
rid
get
of
jumped
us.
out of this club. You just in.
that's official then. I definitely appreciate that. So I'm not going anywhere. So please knock on my door. And once again, thank you guys for having this group, and it's really empowering, and it's crazy to see this is out here. And thank you both for doing what you're doing. And having been around money and pitches and going to the Angel Investment Conference of San Diego next week next month with Hugs, that price point to get into a group like this for anybody who's looking around is almost free. So, the knowledge that you would gain, I think, is almost endless. And definitely meets and exceeds the actual price point. So thank you all for doing this, and I hope you guys sign up and look forward to being part of the family.
Absolutely. Thank you
Good
so much,
night,
everybody.
everyone.